Anthropic says the majority of its own code is now written by Claude code, not by humans. Meanwhile, AI coding agents just nearly killed a real company by wiping its production database. And the infrastructure layer underneath all of this is shifting faster than anyone expected. From a team at the Synthetic Daily, it's Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Good to have you with us.
We went through 40 posts, articles, and threads across LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube over the past week to dive deeper into the world of AI for builders.
All right, next up, here's a detail that slipped past most people at Anthropic's code with Claude developer event, which ran across San Francisco, London, and Tokyo earlier this month. The creator of Claude code said something remarkable. There's literally no manually written code anywhere at Anthropic anymore. Claude instances coordinate over Slack, code in loops, and resolve issues across the codebase. The company that builds the AI is now built by the AI.
Let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about autocomplete suggestions or boilerplate generation. We're talking about an entire engineering organization where the humans have moved up the stack. They're doing architecture, product thinking, and orchestrating multiple agents running in parallel. The code itself? That's Claude's job now.
Anthropic held this event and deliberately released no new models. Instead, they shipped 5 infrastructure features. Something called dreaming, which lets agents explore solution spaces before committing, outcomes, which defines success criteria for agent tasks, multi-agent orchestration, Claude Finance with 10 pre-built agents, and add-ins. The message was clear. This isn't about making the model smarter anymore. It's about making the system around the model more capable. The model is smart enough. Now it needs plumbing. But here's the flip side of all that autonomy, and it's a story that should make every CTO's stomach drop. Jack Crane, the founder of a small vertical software company called Pocket OS, reported that a cursor coding agent combined with a railway backup misconfiguration briefly wiped out his company's entire car rental customer production database. The whole thing, gone. This was a near company killer that was only reversed because Railway happened to be able to recover data from earlier backups.
Think about what happened here. An AI agent was given enough autonomy to operate on a production system, and it made a cascading decision that a human engineer almost certainly would have flagged. The agent didn't have malicious intent. It doesn't have intent at all, but it had permissions, and permissions plus speed plus no intuition about consequences equals disaster.
Zvi Moshowitz covered this incident in detail in his latest Agentic coding roundup, and the lesson he draws is the one everyone in this space needs to internalize. The failure mode of Agentic coding isn't that it writes bad code. It's that it writes perfectly logical code that interacts with misconfigured infrastructure in ways no one anticipated. The agent didn't have a bug. The system had a gap, and the agent found it at machine speed. So who's winning the actual tools race? Rafael Perez published his May 2026 AI coding scorecard, and for the first time since that scorecard launched, Claude Code sits alone at the top. Not Copilot, not Cursor, Claude Code. The reasoning is interesting. Perez argues that chat-only tools are now completely off the table for shipping production software. If your AI coding tool can't autonomously plan multi-step changes, run tests, and iterate without you typing, it's a toy.
But the competitive picture is genuinely chaotic right now. In April, GitHub paused new signups for Copilot Pro and Pro Plus, announced a shift to usage-based billing starting June 1st. That same month, Anthropic shipped Opus 4.7 with a significant jump on coding benchmarks, and Cursor pushed Composer 2 with parallel agents. Then Apple dropped Xcode 26.3 with native support for Claude Agent and OpenAI Codex directly in the IDE, plus full MCP support so any compatible agent can plug in.
Developer surveys are showing something fascinating. Experienced developers now run an average of 2.3 AI coding tools simultaneously. The most common stack is Cursor for daily editing, Claude Code for complex agentic work, and Copilot kept around for GitHub ecosystem projects. Nobody's picking one winner. They're assembling a bench. Z 1.0 shipped with parallel agents and something called the Agent Client Protocol. One analyst declared that the watch an agent type loop is genuinely over. The next generation of these tools doesn't show you what it's doing line by line. It just comes back with results. Let me bring up something related. If you want to understand why all these different tools can suddenly talk to each other, there's one acronym you need to know: MCP, the Model Context Protocol. It's been donated to the Linux Foundation and adopted by Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google as a shared standard. Think of it as the USB port for AI agents, a universal way for an agent to connect to tools, data sources, and other agents without custom integration work.
The practical implications are showing up fast. N8N, the workflow automation platform, now supports MCP on both sides. It can consume MCP servers as tools for its AI agents, and it can expose its own workflows as MCP servers for external AI agents to call. There's a new open-source project called N8N MCP that lets Claude Desktop, Claude Code, Cursor, and Windsurf construct N8N workflows from natural language. You tell an AI what you want automated, and it builds the automation pipeline for you.
Harrison Chase at LangChain shared data showing the vector storage space has rapidly diversified since December 2025. MongoDB Atlas, Pinecone, and Quadrant tripled their combined share from 7% to 21%. The fragmentation isn't driven by more companies adopting vector databases. Adoption was flat. It's driven by intensity. Existing customers are running 2 to 4 times more workloads than 5 months ago. That's agents hitting those databases, not humans. The infrastructure layer is scaling to meet machine demand, not human demand. There's another angle worth talking about. Wes Roth's video this week, which racked up over 60,000 engagements, makes a point that's uncomfortable for a lot of people who wrote those AI bubble stories last year. He pulled up a chart showing AI model capability on software engineering tasks over time, and the line doesn't have a kink in it. There's no turnaround. There's no sudden inflection. It's been a steady, exponential climb. What changed isn't the technology. It's that the technology crossed the threshold where it can complete economically valuable tasks end to end.
The Atlantic apparently ran a piece conceding that maybe the AI bubble isn't going to pop, framing it as a turnaround story. Roth's counterargument is sharp. Anthropic's revenue has been exponentially growing the entire time. OpenAI's revenue has been exponentially growing the entire time. Nothing turned around. The media just caught up to the curve.
Meanwhile, Bilawal Sidhu's video on Claude's role in U.S. military operations against Iran pulled nearly 19,000 engagements and raises a completely different set of stakes. Anthropic drew a line at autonomous weapons. The Trump administration apparently pushed back. We're now in territory where AI companies are making foreign policy decisions by deciding what their models will and won't do. That's not a bubble story. That's a power story. One more thread worth pulling on. Ruben Hassid has been on a tear on LinkedIn and Substack this week, building what he calls Claude skills, reusable instruction sets that turn Claude into a specialized tool for a specific task. He built one that audits your LinkedIn profile and claims it does in 2 minutes what a brand strategist would charge £1,000 for. He published a method for turning any nonfiction book with a repeatable framework into a Claude skill in 5 minutes.
This sounds like productivity influencer stuff, and some of it is. But there's a deeper signal here. Hassid also wrote about getting 3 official Claude certifications issued by Anthropic in 6 hours, all free, and warned that scammers are already selling fake Claude certifications online. When people start counterfeiting credentials for a platform, that platform has crossed into economic relevance.
What Hasid is really documenting is the emergence of a skill economy around AI tools. It's not enough to have access to Claude. The competitive advantage is in knowing how to configure it, how to prompt Opus 4.7 differently than earlier models, how to keep costs down by turning off features you don't need for a given task. He's essentially arguing that Claude fluency is becoming a professional credential the same way Excel fluency was 20 years ago. And based on the engagement numbers, thousands of interactions on each post, a lot of people agree. All right, let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture. What are the main themes running through everything we covered today? The first big theme is autonomy versus accountability gap. As coding agents gain production system access, the security and permission models governing them remain stuck in a human speed paradigm, creating a new category of systemic risk.
Next, platform consolidation through protocol. MCP's rapid multi-vendor adoption is creating a rare moment where interoperability, not proprietary lock-in, may define the winning AI platform strategy.
Next, tool stacking as default behavior. The era of picking one AI coding tool is already over. Developers are assembling portfolios of specialized agents the way they once assembled tech stacks.
And the last one, credential markets as adoption signals. The emergence of both legitimate certifications and counterfeit ones around Claude suggests AI tool proficiency is crystallizing into a formal labor market signal. So if you're going to take away a few things from today's episode, here's what I'd remember.
Number 1. The most dangerous failure mode of AI agents isn't bad code. It's correct code meeting misconfigured infrastructure at machine speed.
Number 2. If you're still picking one AI coding tool, you're already behind the developers running 2 or 3 in parallel for different tasks.
Number 3. MCP adoption by every major lab means the next wave of competitive advantage shifts from model quality to orchestration quality.
And finally, Claude fluency is becoming a hireable skill with real credentials. And where there are real credentials, there are already scammers faking them.
That's the Synthetic Daily for today. All the sources and links are on the website if you want to dig deeper.
Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.